Okay. Um, just let me go first. So I'm gonna give you an update of the chemical seed treatment billet plantings that we do each year, both at the Sugar Research Station in St. Gabriel and the USDA Farm in Schriever. These tests are pretty basic, and we try to keep most of the methods consistent year to year. We currently are using 540 because it's not a very uh, strong variety in terms of billet planting, and the idea is to put as much stress as we can on these tests to really test these chemical seed treatments as to their effectiveness. For these tests, we usually use about 24-inch billets. We include treated and non-treated billets and also non-treated whole stalks in each experiment. We plant these at a relatively low rate, again, to induce stress at 2 running billets or 2 stalks, and they're harvested each year mechanically. The tests we planted in 2019 that we have plant cane data for included Top Guard Terra, which is flutriafol, which is a relatively new fungicide for Louisiana, at least in sugarcane. Um, it has a relatively long residual time in soil. Quilt XL is probably a little more familiar to you. It contains azoxystrobin and propiconazole. It is labeled for cane with a special needs label. Prevathon, which is an insecticide. Platinum, which is another insecticide that we've been trying to get labeled for cane for some time now. And Toggle was just a organic biostimulant that we included at the USDA test. First, looking at the seed treatment chemical results at the Sugar Research Station last year, and here we have tons of cane in the middle column and pounds of sugar per acre in the right column. If you the first line is the non-treated billets and non-treated whole stalks, then you can see the effect of the different chemical seed treatments below those. Not a lot of significant differences, but focus on particularly the Top Guard and Platinum and the Top Guard and Prevathon. We're able to pick up significantly increased yield with those compared to the non-treated whole stalks. And this is really a common theme with these seed treatment chemical tests for about the past 6 years, that a fungicide and an insecticide applied together seems to be the most consistent combination that gives us a positive increase in yields. And we also saw a significant increase in the pounds of sugar per acre as well for Top Guard, either with Prevathon or Platinum, compared to whole stalk. This is the same test planted at the USDA farm. Treatments arranged a little bit differently, but most of the chemistry are both represented. At the USDA farm, we had more variability, so we didn't pick up any significant differences, at least not at the 5% level. But if you look at the bottom, the Top Guard plus Preaxer, and as well as the Quilt plus Top Guard plus Platinum, you compare those numbers to the non-treated billets and whole stalks numerically, the trend is an increase as well as the pounds of sugar per acre. So the takeaway is that, first of all, the 2019 plant cane yields were very high. Chemical seed treatment results, at least at the USDA farm, suffered from variability, which prevented the statistics from really indicating some significant differences. However, at the Sugar Research Station, the fungicide plus insecticide increased the yields compared to non-treated whole stalks, which is similar to results that we've gotten on in tests from years past. For the 2020 test that we planted last year at both locations as well, again, we have Platinum, Top Guard Terra. We have a Quilt XL plus Platinum. We dropped the Quilt XL on its own, as it's not quite as effective as when you put it with Platinum. Trevor Pro, which is essentially Quilt XL plus Solatinol plus Platinum, and then 2 new BASF fungicides that are labeled for cane, Veltima, which is methyltrifluoroconazole plus pyroclostridium, and Revitec, which is Veltima plus fluxiperoxide. And each of those, including Top Guard Terra, were both planted with and without platinum. And these tests were planted, like I said, last year, and we'll have plant cane results for these for the Winners Growers meeting. Next, we conducted a field test in collaboration with Dr. Rich Johnson and Chris Gravois, looking at Quilt XL at the special label rate, as well as a Stoller Cobalt addition to the billets. These were $2.99, planted in pretty light soil, 24-inch billets that were spray treated at planting with 30 gallons per acre. And this contrasts with the chemical seed treatment test I just talked about, where the billets are completely submerged in the chemical seed treatment before they are planted. This is closer to what growers would probably be doing, treating planted billets. We also included whole stalks that were not treated. Quilt XL again was 21 ounces per acre. The cobalt product was applied at 1 pound per acre, and then we also combined both of those as the Quilt XL and cobalt at 21 and 1. Again, these were planted mechanically, and we had spray nozzles at the end of the chute, so these billets were sprayed as they were falling into the row furrows. The test was the whole stalks were hand planted, and I wanted to point out that we were able to plant about 3 times as much billet cane per whole stalk cane. Um, it was just that much faster, and so that's another benefit of mechanically planting billets, is that if you only have a certain amount of dry days to plant, which looks like this year might be one of those years, you can definitely get more acres planted with a good billet program than you can hand planted. The results from the plant cane crop versus tons per acre, the A's on each bar indicate there weren't any significant difference in the treatments, but if you follow the bars from left to right, you can see that we do see a trend of increasing yields with any of the 3 different chemical seed treatments versus the non-treated billets or the non-treated whole stalks. We look at sucrose per ton, we did see some significant differences. Again, looking from left to right, the non-treated billets produce just as much as the Quilt XL Cobalt or Quilt XL plus Cobalt treated billets. However, the Cobalt alone did produce stalks with increased TRS compared to the non-treated whole stalks. So sucrose per acre is a product of cane and stalk sucrose concentration. Again, we didn't pick up significant differences at the 5% level, but if you track from left to right, you are able to see a definite trend in picking up close to about 1,000 pounds of sugar for some of these treatments where we planted the chemical seed treatment billets, particularly greater than the non-treated whole stalks. So we're going to carry this into the ratoon crop where 299 usually really shines, and see if any of those treatments have a residual. Again, we didn't see significant differences, but we did see some numeric differences with these chemical seed treated billets. Again, we're just going to continue these tests into these double crop to observe any carryover. Last year at the USDA Farm, we also initiated some cultural practice tests to look at different aspects of billet planting. This is some work that Dr. Hoy used to do quite extensively, and since we have so many new varieties, which you heard about earlier from Collins as well as James, we wanted to get some more billet information on these, and so first off is a date of planting billet test using 299, 804, and 615, where we have whole stalks and 24-inch billets. And we planted each of those in August, September, and October of 2020, and we'll be harvesting plant cane this year. And then we also looked at rate of planting times seed source using 299 and 615. where we have whole stalks or 3/6 or 9 24-inch billets, and that's running billets in the plot planted in September. And again, we'll have data on that by the winter growers meetings, and we'll also be expanding these tests to include 739, 885, and 267. So I just want to thank Dr. Patrick Ellsworth, Alphonse Coco, and as well as some other USDA and LSU farm crew and technicians, the chemical companies, FMC, Syngenta, and PESF, and especially the American Sugarcane League for support. My email and my cell number at the bottom. If you have any questions, I can answer them right now or I can answer them later. And just thank you for your attention.